Wild Coast FM, your community connection.
Sandy, good morning and welcome.
Hello, Finola. Lovely to be here again.
Wonderful to have you in.
Yes.
Now, what are you going to be inspiring me for the week?
You know, we are now in Heritage Month.
We are indeed.
Let's not forget our heritage, where we come from. And, you know, a lot of people, I'm going to start off with a bit of Mealie meal, or what we in Afrikaans people call pap.
Yes.
But
Now, I'm a complete novice to this because I don't know how to prepare it properly.
Exactly. Well, now you see, so many people don't.
Yes.
And you know, a lot of times when you have a braai, it's nice to have that on the side with some tomato and onion brady.
That's it.
Always nice. And of course, you know, I mean, it is one of our staple diets.
Exactly.
Things in our diet, and
I think we should all know how to make it properly.
I think people should know how to make it
Absolutely.
properly. And I know a lot of young girls and young women don't really know much about this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's good just to know something about how to make mealie meal.
Absolutely.
Now, I'll tell you first, if you're going to make a breakfast porridge mealie meal, and the
Yes.
runny kind,
Okay.
you know, if you want it to be sort of runny, not stiff porridge, you take 1 cup of mealie meal and 3 cups of water.
Okay.
That's how you would get that right. And if you want it thicker, 1 cup of mealie meal and 1.5 cups of water. And then if you want the dry and crumbly one, that's nice to have with
You
braai.
actually forget there's 3 different ways of using
Oh, you can do all
utilizing
sorts
it.
of things.
Yes.
For that one, you need 1 cup of water and 1 cup of mealie meal.
Okay.
And this is how you make that. They call it putu pap.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's really very nice to have at a braai.
Okay.
You bring a covered pot of water. Bring a covered pot with 1 liter of salted water to the boil. And then once it's boiling, put 4 cups of mealie meal in. Right at once, all at once. Just throw
okay.
all the 4 cups of mealie meal in.
Okay.
Put it into the middle of the pot.
All right.
Don't stir it.
Okay, don't, because
No.
I'm always concerned that it's going to get very thick very quickly, and that's sort of like
No,
custard,
don't stir
or
it.
you've got to keep
And
stirring.
Cover it and steam it for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So you must make sure that your heat then is turned down so you can steam it.
All right.
And then
So then, Sandy, you bring the water to a boil, then you put your
mealie meal in
then you turn
without
your heat
stirring
down.
it.
Okay.
And then you turn it down and
All
then
right.
cover it and stir it for steam it for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Then you stir it vigorously with a 2-pronged fork, making crumbs.
Okay.
Lower your heat and make sure that it steams for 20 to 30 minutes.
All right.
And then you keep stirring it every 5 to 8 minutes just to loosen it up.
Yes.
And you serve that with a knob of butter. And you get those nice crumbly...
Yeah, I've seen it before done, and it is
Yes.
actually, it's almost like, not like breadcrumbs, but similar to that sort of consistency.
Exactly. And it really is very nice to have with a braai.
Could you add a little bit of spices to it, like a little bit of fresh parsley maybe?
Yes,
or?
I'm sure you could. And you know, I know people that have that also for breakfast. I know a lot of people that like it like that, and they just put sugar and milk with it.
Yes, or even a little bit of honey.
Yes, absolutely
Okay.
delicious to do it like that.
Very nice.
And you know, there's so many things you can use mealie meal for.
You were telling me.
Yes. I mean, you can use it in your baking. You can use it...
And that was something I never thought of.
Yes, you can make a tart with it. You get a pap tart, and I know a lot of Afrikaans ladies know how to make that.
Okay.
I have seen the recipe. I don't have that one with me at the moment.
But you've got
that's
something
a good idea.
very delicious with you.
Yes, but you can make this. I thought is quite nice. A blueberry and lemon tray bake with cream cheese.
Wow.
Now this is interesting. This, of course, doesn't need any icing. You combine a 1/4 cup of caster sugar and 3 punnets of blueberries. Blueberries are in season at the moment, by the way.
see, so.
That's about 125 gram each, these punnets are.
Okay.
So you put 3 of those punnets and the zest of 1 lemon in the bottom of a 12 centimeter square baking tray, but it must be lined with baking paper.
Okay.
Make sure you put the paper in first, then put your caster sugar and your blueberries and your zest in there, and then you whisk 3/4 cups of caster sugar and 1 egg together until it's light and fluffy. Then you whisk in 1/3 cup of oil, just ordinary sunflower oil,
Okay.
1/4 cup of cream cheese, and the zest and the juice of 1 lemon.
Sounds delicious.
And then you combine a 1/2 cup of self-raising flour, 3/4 cup of mealie meal, and a pinch of salt.
Now, looking at the picture that you showed me, I'm thinking it's going to be similar to sort of like an apple pie crumble with the mini meal in it.
It's going to be more cakey.
Cakey,
Yes.
okay.
And then you fold your flour mixture into the egg mixture until it's well combined. And you pour that batter over your berry mixture in the baking tray, and you bake it at 180 for 35 to 40 minutes until it's golden on top. Now let it cool, then you tip it out, and your berries are going to be on the top.
Oh, right, because the way you've layered it.
That's right. And
Yes.
and you cut it into slices. It makes about 12 nice slices.
Lovely.
Nice if you're also having a braai, and afterwards you want to have something like that.
Exactly.
Delicious to have.
Yes.
And it's got your little bit of mealie meal in it, and you're still doing your heritage things.
And it's got your antioxidants from your blueberries.
That's right.
And it's nice to see if you're having a braai and you're having a lot of meat, because a lot of people love their meat with their braais.
Absolutely.
That's divine to have with coffee afterwards.
Yes.
Something sweet, but still a bit lighter.
Absolutely. And then talking about meat and what you're having at braais, so often, typical South African, we cook too much meat. You know,
We always do. We always have leftovers.
Always nice to have leftovers. Then I don't mind leftovers. I know a few people that don't use their leftovers. I can't believe it. They won't have the leftover meat. That's totally ridiculous.
Not with the price
But
of
I
meat,
think we are overcoming that little hurdle.
Yes.
We have to use it. But here's a good idea for breakfast next morning, using some boerewors. That's leftover boerewors. Make a boerewors frittata. Frittata is a kind of an omelette thing, and it's really very nice. All you do is mix 4 eggs, 2 cups of milk, and a handful of chopped parsley together, and then you add 200 grams of chopped boerewors and 10 halves of those little tomatoes, the little rosa tomatoes.
Yes.
Just cut them in half, 10 of them, and put it all round, and then you bake that in the oven at 160 for 20 minutes.
Okay.
And you take that out, and it comes all puffed up and nice.
Lovely.
And you serve that with a relish. Serve it for breakfast.
And I think a little bit of sprinkled cheese on top because of the relish and the oregano. Delicious.
Yes, so that's a good idea as well.
Fantastic, and truly South African too.
Yes, absolutely. Still, before I do my dessert, on the porridge situation, you know, it's very popular at the moment in a lot of restaurants to use polenta. Now, polenta is a yellow maize.
Okay.
And I've seen it, you know, they serve it with posh things, and people say, my goodness, they didn't know what polenta was.
Yes, it
so
sounds
if
very
you
fancy.
see something and it says polenta, just be warned that it is mealie meal anyway. It's just yellow, and it's kind of, I think it's the Italian version of maize. But anyway, very posh if you want to have polenta.
And now we know what polenta is.
Exactly. Now, you know, our good old-fashioned peppermint crisp tart.
Oh yes, can't
That
go
is
wrong.
one of the South Africa's sort of featured desserts. I know
is.
a lot of ladies that just make the peppermint crisp tart.
Yes.
Now what about making a deconstructed peppermint crisp tart? Don't mix it all together.
Yes, it's not as difficult as it sounds.
No. And you know, if you're having people for dinner and you've got some lovely glasses you can use.
Yes.
Lovely. It looks delicious because it's in layers. You do this in layers, and it just looks so nice. So what you need is 1 tub of cream, your 250 ml cream. Whisk that with a teaspoon of vanilla essence or extract till it's got stiff peaks, and then take your 1 tin of caramel treat and beat that until it's smooth, and then take a 90 gram chopped peppermint crisp slab and a packet of choc mint tennis biscuits. You do get the choc mint one now.
Yes.
And you put that in a food processor and blitz it till it makes crumbs. Now put a little bit of your crumb mixture into your glass, and then put some of your caramel treat into your glass, and then put your cream, and you just keep on making those layers.
Almost like trifle layers.
That's right.
Yes.
And you can see the layers, and it looks pretty, especially if it's in nice glasses.
Yes.
And then just sprinkle a little bit of peppermint crisp on top. And there you've got your peppermint crisp tart, and it just looks delicious. Of course, make sure you end with a cream layer,
Okay.
and then you put your peppermint crisp crumbles
top.
on top,
Okay.
and it just looks delightful.
I'm sure
And
with all those layers, it must look really decadent
so
as
if you-
well.
Yeah, and you've made something a little bit different.
Yes.
But yet it's still exactly the same, but it's just all in layers.
And very sweet by the sound.
Absolutely, but nice to have
yes.
for a change.
That sounds delicious. And especially, I know with Heritage Month, we love to make South African inspired things.
That's
and
right.
as you were saying, the peppermint crisp and the peppermint tarts are very much South African.
That's right. I think for this month, every week we'll do at least one thing that's belongs to our heritage.
Truly South African.
We'll try and do like a bobotie and
Yes.
those sort of things, just one a week, so that we
Fantastic.
keep ourselves going and know where we're coming from.
There we go. Sandy, thank you so much. Always wonderful chatting to
It's
you.
a pleasure, and thank you so much for having me. And I'll put one or two of these little tips on the Facebook page, Sandy Gerber.
Yes, please.
And everybody have a wonderful week, and I'll speak to you again next Tuesday.
Brilliant. Sandy,
Bye
thank
for
you
now.
so much. Bye-bye.